Why saying no is a prerequisite to your success and fulfillment. Welcome to Mental Mastery, where the purpose of this channel is simple, focusing on this to get from where we are to where we want to be, because everything in life is a head game. If you get your mind right, your actions will follow. If you get your actions right, whatever results you want to create, they will come. In this video, we look at why it is important to say no, why you have to learn to be disagreeable in order to achieve and accomplish fulfillment. He who stands for everything stands for nothing. If you simply aim to please all those around you, you aim to go along and not cause trouble, you aim to go along and be agreeable in whatever way you can to avoid conflict, to avoid butting heads with other people, you are unconsciously foregoing that which is important to you. Now, how do you become conscious of when you are foregoing what's important to you? Well, the first part of this equation is you have to get clear on what is important to you. What are your values? That is the first question that you have to answer. You have to be clear on what your values are. You have to be clear on what your goals are. You have to be clear on what is important to you as well as what is not. Tim Ferriss talks a lot about you shouldn't just have a to-do list. You should also have a not to-do list. Things to look out for, things to not simply go along with because it's easy. If you have a clear objective, for example, with a diet goal, you have a particular calorie count that you're going for, and your mates ask you to go out for dinner, you have to get clear on what is important to you. If you're not clear on the fact that this goal is important to you, then you will continually and perpetually be agreeable, and in doing so, unconsciously self-sabotage that which is important to you. So you have to be clear on what's important to you. Then you have to learn how to say no, how to be disagreeable. Now, this is a really difficult one to learn. And I think the way in which I've learned, and the one effective way of tackling this, is thinking of disagreeability as a muscle. It's a muscle. In the same way that you have to train a muscle to lift heavy weights, you have to train and flex that muscle of disagreeability for it to become stronger. So you start with the small weights. You need to learn how to say no to the small decisions, to the small things where there is a conflict of interest. Being able to say, actually, no, so I'm going to do this. Now, one way in which you can do this is, instead of going along with anything, say there is a decision to be made, instead of saying, I don't mind, proactively making a decision. Whatever decision you see to be right in that moment, that's a really small way of saying, I think this is the best move, and potentially butting heads, and that's okay. But being able to put your foot down and say, I think this is the best move. In that way, those small situations, you get comfortable with disagreeability. And then you step it up. There might be another situation where it's slightly more uncomfortable to be disagreeable. Like the example I gave before. Your friends might want to do something, might want to go out and experience something, but you might have a particular goal that is incredibly important to you that means, actually, I don't want to do that. If you are not capable of saying no, if you are not disagreeable, if you haven't flexed that muscle, then you will merely go along with the social norm to avoid things like social ridicule. But what that means is that if you're not really conscious of it, you're forgoing that which you will be proud of when you look back in 10, 20 years' time. And then you continue to step it up. You know, there are going to be pivot points in your life where you will have to make a difficult decision, where you will have to be disagreeable. It might even be with someone that you love and care for. Say, for example, your parents. You may love and adore your parents, but they may have a different vision for your future compared to you. And unless you have flexed that muscle of disagreeability on the small things, unless you learn to say no when it counts, unless you have that clarity about what's important to you, then you will go along with the expectations, the impressions of others when it comes to what you should do with your life. You have to be clear about what's important to you, and you have to learn and be good at saying no when it counts, so that you are saying no to the distraction that leads you off the path to your fulfillment. So ask yourself, are there moments, say for example, over the past day, over the past 2-3 days, over the past week, where you have just gone along with what others think you should do? Are there times where you have been agreeable? Are there times where you should have said, actually, no, I want to do this. Actually, no, this is important to me. Actually, no, I will forego the social norm to pursue what's important to me. I will say no to the external influences and expectations on how I should live my life to pursue what's important to me and my fulfillment. And if you guys have watched the last video, you know that time is of the essence, so take action now. Get the pen and pad out. What's the point in watching this video if you don't do something with it, if you don't apply it to your life right now? So stop what you're doing and write down, what are the things in your life that you've simply been agreeable with, simply been going along with? Ask yourself, what is truly important to you? What is truly important to you? What are the goals that you have that are important to you? What are the values that you hold that are important to you? And then what are some situations in the day-to-day that you have to say no? That you have to say, sorry, I'm going to choose what's important to me. I'm going to choose my fulfillment, even if it results in social ridicule or some kind of disagreement or conflict. So I hope this video has been of value to you, and I hope that you take action and start applying it to your life. Until next time, stay focused on what's important, and I'll see you in the next video.